Hey fam, today's video is going to be a little bit different from usual just because I wanted to spotlight one of our office hours questions of the week. And for those of you guys who don't know, office hours is just something that I do inside of my workout app once a month where I come in and I answer the questions that everyone has. So, and every once in a while, somebody asks a question that is just so good that I feel like it would help other people that aren't inside the group. So today I'm going to share a clip of one of the questions where someone was asking about setting up their home gym, looking for recommendations for what to purchase for setting up their home gym. And in this particular clip, I not only share some of my own recommendations, I even screen shared and went into Amazon and everything to show them, but also I talk about the order that I recommend purchasing in. So I thought that this might be something that you guys would enjoy as well. So go ahead and take a look and let me know what you think. So we talked about some home equipment recommendations, and anyone who is considering investing in a home gym, this is something that I highly recommend. Is definitely like taking into consideration everything in advance and then planning accordingly. So in this particular post, if you guys find the post where I answered Gina, I did kind of give a range of like this, then this, then this, then this. And that is the way that I would look at it, because maybe you don't have the time, money, budget to go and buy all of the things. So one of the first things that I talk about when you're trying to set up your home gym is deciding, am I going big or am I going small? Is this just a substitute for days that I can't get to the gym? Or is this something that I'm going all in on because I'm going to do it long term? And am I trying to, if it's something that's long term, am I investing all at once? Or is this something that I'm gonna have to like slowly chip away at over time? And that's something that I would recommend for most people. Like, unless you're rolling in the dough, then go get it all at once, and that's fine too. So if you are just creating like something to get by with in those days where you can't get to the gym, in those days where you're like, I can probably get there 2 times this week, but I have to work out at home 2 times, then you would only need heavy enough equipment to make like 1 or 2 of those work. So let's say, for instance, you have a 4-day split and you have like a day where you're doing like back workouts, a day where you're doing leg workouts, a day where you're doing like shoulder workouts, and a day where you're doing like arm workouts or something like that. I would look at my week as a whole and say, in that case, if I can get to the gym for the heavier weights, then I would do like the chest and back day or the leg day. Those 2 was what I would do at the gym when I have access to heavier equipment, because you could probably get by with what would be considered light for legs for your like arms and a shoulder day. So there are some days that you don't need super heavy weights for at home if you're working out from home. So I would look at it that way. There's plenty of times where I am super busy and maybe I'm like, oh, I want to like really have a super intense leg day, or I want to use like machines that are only at the gym or something like that, and I will make sure that it's that particular day that I make the trek to the gym. But if I'm working shoulders, arms, something like that, like it doesn't matter, I can do everything from home. So just looking at it from that perspective, if you have both options, if home is your only option, then I would suggest that like slow compounding route of adding on to your supply over time. That is what I did personally. That is what most people that I know who have full home gyms did personally. They started semi-small with maybe just like a barbell, and some dumbbells or something like that, and then they slowly increased over time. And then eventually, because they were like, okay, I'm pretty serious about this, they started investing in things like power racks and stuff like that. So the order that I gave to Gina, for anybody here who's in the same situation, I recommend looking at that post because I kind of spelled it out. But if you're taking notes, I would say the first purchase would be something along the line of dumbbells. Starting with dumbbells because they're easy to maneuver, to put in a closet or something somewhere. Most people would like having dumbbells first. You can get away with probably up to 50 pounds of dumbbells before you start probably needing a barbell for certain exercises. So for instance, squats, get to be a little bit harder with dumbbells as your grip strength starts to go. But because you are in a periodization, that is being taken into consideration. That's what your lower weight ranges and high reps phases are for. But when it gets to the point that you can't hold those weights, that is going to hinder your progress. Another instance is something like a bench press, where maybe if you have a spotter, you can lay back and someone can hand you weights that are 60, 70 pounds or something like that, dumbbells, and you can go ahead and pump some out. But it's really hard to get in position with dumbbells with certain moves, and that is what you want to consider. Not so much of can you lift it, but getting in proper positioning without injuring yourself. So that's the same thing when we start talking about barbells. A lot of times people don't start out with that squat rack, but at a certain point, if you're lifting a heavy enough weight with your barbell, there's going to be a point where getting a barbell, especially if you're doing like a squat, getting a barbell off of the ground, bringing it up and above your head in order to squat is going to compromise your form, your joints. Like, you're going to be limited to how much weight you can push over and around your head. So that's something that you want to think about when it comes to all of the different pieces of equipment that I'm saying. So that's why I say first start with dumbbells, go up to about 50 pounds or so with that, as heavy as you can get before you're starting to notice some grip strength changes or some challenges getting into position. After that, I would invest in a bench or somewhere along the lines. Like, you don't have to wait until you have 50 pounds of dumbbells to invest in a bench, because again, that's going to be one of those things that might hinder some of the moves if you don't have them. But you'll be surprised that a lot of things can be done on the floor. So like bench press, doing a chest press on the floor is not really a bad idea. For a lot of people, it actually helps them to have better form because maybe their elbows are dropping too far below the bench when they're actually going to do their bench press. So having that floor there to stop it actually keeps you in proper form versus having to stabilize it when you're coming down, especially if your shoulders are weaker. Now, stabilizing muscles, we do want to work those. So at some point, yes, you might want your bench. Also, sometimes it's hard to get in position again when you don't have a bench. So dumbbells, then a bench, then I would look into barbell and plates. Now, this, I go back and forth between should the barbell and plates be first before the dumbbells, but I just feel like dumbbells are going to be more versatile at first. That's why I put them first. The barbell and plates, though, I feel like is super versatile as far as space savers, because depending on the head of your dumbbell, those can be harder to store. Whereas a barbell, as long as the length of it is as long as or shorter than most of the furniture in your house, it can be hidden. So if it's not longer than your bed or your couch or something like that, then it makes it really easy to hide these things. You just roll the barbell right under there because most of them aren't going to be too thick to get under there. The exception is, though, that some Olympics, even though the actual barbell part is small enough, there's that extra little ring that's on the end that could get in the way a little bit. But most barbells can roll underneath your sofa or your bed. So Olympic barbell would probably go better under the bed. And then plates, same thing. They're typically slim enough that they can slide under furniture. So barbells are super versatile as far as storage for what you can do with them. And then when you have that dumbbell stack and you have that barbell stack, you're going to be pretty good to go with most things, because then it's just about adding plates to the bar and you can collect those as you go. So you can start off with just the bar if you're getting a Olympic size barbell, or you can start off with a barbell and up to about 45 pounds of weight if you're getting a standard bar that doesn't have as much weight to it. So I am going to attempt to share my screen. I think we kind of went over some of these. Let's see if we can make this work. Just to show some of the options when you're searching for barbells. So this was one of the ones that I believe that I linked, and this has, it has about 100 pounds of weight to it. This is what you're looking for when you're figuring out your barbell versus dumbbell situation, is how much total weight does it have? Because very often you will see things like this off to the side that's being advertised to me, adjustable sets and things like that are super cool to look at, but they don't have as much weight as something that is maybe not so cool. So it's really important for you to decide if coolness matters to you more than the amount of weight, because this particular dumbbell set, oh, I didn't mean to zoom in again. This particular dumbbell set, I'm just gonna click on it, you know, it's sponsored, it's whatever, is what, $179, and this one goes up to 55 pounds for one. I'm assuming you get the set for this, hopefully. If so, then something like that may be worth it versus something similar to this that only goes up to like 25 pounds. That's that same price range. So make sure you're paying attention to everything. Like this one off to the side here is an example of that. 15 pounds, $152. So when you're investing, that's what you want to pay attention to. What is the total amount of weight that I am getting for this piece of equipment? Even if it is not as cool looking as something else. This one tends to attract a lot of people. I get a lot of clients who will ask, should I invest in adjustable set? And typically this is exactly what we do, is we start screen sharing, and I'm like all up in their Amazon cart looking to see, like, is it going to be worth it for them, or was it something that's just really cool that was targeted to them based on what they were looking at. So this $152, $153 for 15 pounds does not compare to this if you're getting 55 pounds for, you know, 20 bucks more. So, or, you know, hey, $10 off with your coupons. So there you have it. That's going to be a lot less than that. So that's the way that I would look at it when you're trying to figure out if you want to have adjustable dumbbells. And then when we're looking at barbells, I know we discussed having a traditional bar versus an Olympic size bar. So your traditional bar typically is not gonna weigh that much. So this one is a 6-foot bar, but it's probably, I would say 10 pounds at the most. It's probably in the description. So that's something that you would want to look at. But a traditional Olympic barbell is going to have weight to it. So that's why I said, if you're getting a smaller bar that's maybe a 5-pound bar or so, then you want to make sure you're getting it with the weights. If you're starting off with an Olympic barbell, then your only things that you're looking at is the amount of feet. Is it a 5-foot bar? Is it a 7-foot bar? Because that's typically where the price difference is going to be for that. And it's already going to have some weight to it. So even if you just bought the bar, because a lot of times people are like, what? Why am I paying $100 just for a bar? Well, it's like a 45-pound bar. So therefore, you can go ahead and just start using that right away and not even have to add weight to it yet. So you see this one, for instance, is 44 pounds. So those are some of the choices that you have when you're looking at your bar, is you're looking at the actual range of like how long it is. Again, for space saving, you may need something that's a little bit smaller. The typical one that's going to be found in a gym is going to be usually either the 5 or the 7. A squat rack size bar is going to be over 6 feet. So this is going to be the one if you plan on investing in a bench at some point or squat rack at some point. That is when having the smaller one might come back to bite you, because it won't reach across all of the pegs for the bench. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight to that. And one of the things that I was saying, when it comes to figuring out what it is that you're looking for, you're getting your dumbbell, you get your bench, you have your barbell and plates, then that's when you can look at investing in a squat rack. And like I said, think about that before you purchase the barbell, but also think about it in the long run when you're trying to map out what your particular budget is going to be for something. Is how far am I going with this, or is this just getting me by until I can afford a gym membership? Because if it's getting you by, then maybe you don't want to invest all that much. You just want to start saving up your money so that you can pay for the monthly gym membership. So sometimes that's the trade-off, is if a gym membership is whatever, $10, $25, $50, would you be better suited applying that money towards your home gym if it's going to be something permanent for you? Or would you be better suited buying, a cheaper, like something that'll get you by at home, and then investing your money into your workout, your actual gym membership? So the 3 that are going to be going to help you to get through pretty much everything you need is the dumbbell, bench, and barbell. The 4 and 5 that I mentioned in that particular post, the squat rack, and then having some type of pull-up apparatus of some sort, are what's going to take it to the next level. Because like I said, the squat rack is not something that's necessary, but once you start squatting actual real weight that you cannot get over your head, when your legs become stronger than your shoulder strength, your overhead push strength, then a squat rack is going to be like a game changer for you, because you'll start seeing those gains go through the roof. If you're somebody who's been squatting for a very long period of time and you're working out at home and you don't have a squat rack and you're not seeing those levels of gains, that's probably why. That is what is hindering you, is your overhead strength. If you don't have room for a squat rack, you want to start looking at other ways of how I can still increase the capacity to be able to lift heavier on this exercise. That's when you're going to start including things like a vest, a weighted vest or something like that. So that way you have whatever the max is that you can get over your head, and then you start adding weight to your actual body to increase the weight that you're lifting during that move. So if you have a squat rack, then the vest is something that I would put in the extra category. So that's why I said, once you have those top three, if you add in a squat rack, a pull-up bar, like, you're good to go. That is a fully equipped home gym. Then if, like, you know, time progresses and you start seeing little toys that you want to add to your gym, like you have space for it, then you can start doing that. Like, oh, now I'm gonna get a spin bike so that I can, you know, get in cardio when it's cold outside, or I'm gonna get stability ball, BOSU balls, you know, a boxing bag or whatever, like all of those little things. That's when you start, like, you know, it becomes fun just adding little investments, kettlebells, resistance bands, sandbags, and all that stuff to your home gym. But none of those things are necessities. Another question that I get along these same lines is, should I invest in something like one of these all-in-one systems, like a tonal, or the, I don't remember what, like Bowflex or Soloflex or whatever those were called back in the day, or like something of that nature. And I would say, as far as the older versions, Bowflex and those, I would invest in those top three before I would invest in that, honestly. If you already have it though, because I do get people that's like, my husband has this old, you know, Soloflex or what I'm calling it, that I don't know what it's called, in the basement, can I use that? And I'll say, go for it. Like, if that's the equipment that you have, then great, get started with it. And then you still want those top three to be your first big investments toward that, is your dumbbell, your bench, and your rack. But maybe you don't need a bench if that particular device does it for you. Now, the reason I say that is because you're going to be limited in what you can do with a lot of those all-in-one machines. So you won't be able to replicate every move, and you're also limited in the amount of weight that you can lift. So I wouldn't invest in it first, but if you already have it, great, use it, start there. Now, with something like a tonal, I will say that I like them. So there you go. Full disclosure on that. I do like the fact that the resistance can increase. I do feel like that in a lot of ways you may still be limited to how many movements that you can make. But like, if you have tonal money, like, I mean, get it, right? But I don't know. So that's what I'm saying, is if you already have something, like you're like, somebody bought me a mirror for Christmas or whatever, like, how do I incorporate these things? Again, go to your top three. Like, that's what I'm looking at first. So like something in that case, like a mirror, like maybe that didn't come with equipment, most of those workouts can be done on your off days. Those, you just look at those like your cardio or something like that. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of, you know, insight, gets the wheels turning as to where you want to go with it. But it's weird that the basic stuff is still going to be the best stuff to start with, no matter how many like cool things that we have out there these days. I'm not saying don't get the cool things, because I love them, and if you have the space, go for it. But start with the basics, because those are going to be like your mainstays throughout your entire journey. All right, guys, so hopefully that got the wheels turning for you as well. If you're somebody that's looking to set up your home gym, make sure that you also check out my video about the mistakes that a lot of people make when they are making the switch from working out at home to working out at the gym, because those two go hand in hand. And we want to make sure that not only that you have the equipment and that you're doing all the things and that you're set up to work out from home, but that you're having success while you're doing it. So make sure to check that out and give me a thumbs up if you enjoy this video, and make sure that you also hit that bell if you want to be notified when I come with more videos. If you don't want to be notified, that's okay too. But if you enjoyed this, go ahead and give me a subscribe and let me know what you would like to hear more of, or if anything in this video or in the clip that you just watched sparked more questions for you that you would like me to answer here on the channel. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next Thursday.